Hello my friends, my name is Linda Dolke and I'm a demonstrator with Stampin'Up in Australia, and today we're playing with the Merriest Moments bundle. We're going to make this little card. This is actually what they call a ZFold card. See how it folds kind of a little bit differently to your average card. I love how this turned out. It's super easy to do and you're only going to love making it with me. So let's get started. So today's card is this super cute little Z-fold card, or Z, depending on where you live. And the reason it's called that is you can see the card opens like a Z shape. Okay, so this little piece here is just one long piece of card, and I'll show you how easy this is to do. So these are really simple, but they look cute because they're a special fold. The set that I'm using today for this is the Merriest Moments set. It's actually a bundle of products, and now you'll find this in our mini catalogue. It's shown on page 43, and seriously, the catalogue doesn't do it justice. It really has just been given one page, and I think it really deserves a much bigger showing in the catalogue than it got. It has the stamp set, it has the dies shown here, and the hybrid embossing folder. This is all part of one bundle. So yes, you can buy the stamp set separately or the dies separately, but if you buy them as a bundle, you're going to save 10%. So that's going to get you for $94.50 here in Australia. It's going to get stamps, embossing folder, and dies. So it's a really good deal. And if you turn over here to the back of the catalogue, page 69, you'll see here it's shown a little bit better. You can see the embossing folder much better here, and the dies much better as well. And there's a sample there as well. So $94.50 and you get all of it, okay? And I can't think why you wouldn't want all of it. You wouldn't just get the stamp set and not bother with the embossing folder and the dies. They're just too amazing to not. So I'm going to show you how we're going to do this today. Really, really simple. Let's start with the card base. I'll just set this aside and then we'll start to bring in our elements. I've got here a piece of, this is just a full sheet of A4, which is what we use here in Australia. If you're watching and you're in the US, you'll just start with your normal letter size cardstock, and you're going to put it in your trimmer and cut it exactly at the halfway mark, lengthways, so you get two long pieces that are exactly the same. Okay, so it doesn't matter what cardstock size you're starting with, whether it's US letter or whether it's A4 cardstock, either will work just fine for this. All right, and then what you're going to do is you're going to fold this in half, just like you would a normal card. So I'm going to pull that down and use my bone folder over the edge just to flatten that down. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the top layer, this top bit, and I'm going to fold that back out to the center fold. So just make sure you've got that lined up really well. Push it down and then use your bone folder to get a nice flat crease. And that is your basic Z-fold shape. How easy is that? You don't even have to measure it. The only thing you measure is the halfway mark when you're cutting your paper lengthwise. Other than that, it's just folding it and then folding one half back on itself. Okay, super, super simple. All right, so I'll just set that aside for now and let's have a little talk about our pieces. Okay, so I've got a few different bits that are going to go on the background, but first of all, we're going to do this little piece here at the top because this uses our gorgeous dies and dies and embossing folder. Okay, so here is the embossing folder here. You always know which is the front because it has the word Stampin'Up on the front. So that's always the top. And then we've got these fantastic dies. Just open them up for you. I've been using mine quite a lot, so you'll see they're kind of a little bit all over the place. So we've got the main dies in here. We've got all these small ones which will cut out your different flowers and leaves and so forth. We've got dies for all of those, but then we've got this great big die, and that's a really important die. We want that one. And then on the second page we've also got this great big die. So these are the two we want to be able to do the front of this card. And then there's also this rectangular one here. I have used this so many ways because it fits so many different sentiments in so many different sets. Yes, it does fit perfectly inside your die here, but you'll see, and that's what I've used here on the front. I've used that particular shape, but you can use it in so many different ways. So I'll keep that out because we do need that. And then I'll just move these bits and pieces out of the way. I'm going to be using for this, and I've already cut a shape with this die. Okay, so I've run this, see how this one's more detailed, and this one has just got like the outline. So the detailed one will cut this shape. All right, now I want to show you how else you can use this. This is just a flat one. I do get a bit of a score mark around the middle here. If I was going to be using this piece, which is what has been cut with this, I could just put that in the front there, and that would work. Okay, that would work just fine. And that is in fact what I did with this one here. I just cut it like that and then use this piece in the middle. But today we're going to do something slightly different. So for this today, I'm using craft paper. Now this comes in the mini catalogue in 6x6 sheets, and you'll find it up the front in the gingerbread and peppermint bundle. Here it is, right here. 6x6 craft sheets, and there's 20 sheets in a pack. And it's $10.50 for the 20 sheets of 6x6, okay? So it's pretty reasonable stuff. Now, craft is not the same as crumb cake. Let me quickly show you how different it is against a piece of crumb cake. You can see the colours are quite different, and it's also a different consistency. The paper is, this crumb cake is much softer. This has got a lot more body to it, so it's a bit stiffer, and it's a really great weight of paper for making more like 3D items and that kind of thing. So just bear that in mind if you're trying to choose between the two colours or the two types of paper. They're quite different. Okay, so this is craft, and it's just available right now in our mini catalogue, not normally in the annual. Okay, so what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be using, I've got a couple of choices here. There's different ways I can use these dies, but the way I'm going to use it today on this one is I'm actually going to run this die here so that it matches up with the design inside my embossing folder. And you'll know it's in the right place because it kind of slides into place, and it doesn't lock in, but you can feel that it's in the right place. It doesn't move around, it just kind of stays there. All right, and then I'm going to put my piece of craft paper in, close it on there, and then I'm going to run that through my embossing folder, and let's come back and see what it looks like. Okay, so we've now run that through, so let's open it up and see what it looks like. So the cool thing about this embossing folder is that you can put your die inside and it will both cut and emboss at the same time. Can you see that fantastic result? And this is how this looks instead of this one. You can see this one has been put through with just this die. Okay, this more detailed die. So it's cut out all the pieces in between these leaves. On here you can see the pieces in between are not cut out, but this one has the beautiful embossing. Okay, so that's really lovely. But we can actually do something really fun with this. We can take it one step further, and we can actually position this one. Let me make sure I'm putting it on the right way. Put this one on here and then run this through again. Okay, so if you run it through a second time, you'll see we've got the embossed pieces on here, and this is going to cut this out for us. Now the reason you would want to do this is because you still want that embossing detail, but you want all the little pieces that are cut out inside. So you've got a few choices. You can do it without the extra embossing and just put it through flat. You could just cut it out with this big one and put it through the embossing folder, and you'll get this shape here. But as you can see, we haven't got all this detail, and I really want that detail. So for that reason, I'm now going to position this one over the top of this. It perfectly lines up with the outside of this die, so you can see it's exactly a match. And we're going to run this through our we're going to run this through our cut and emboss machine. Now, just bear in mind that for this one, when we did this piece, we used it as if we were embossing. So we used the specialty plate with the embossing folder and the die inside. Now when I do this one, it's just like I'm not doing normal die cutting. I'm not using an embossing folder this time, so I'm going to be running it through with my normal platform and my clear plates, and I'll be right back. Okay, so you can see I have run this through, and I'm now going to remove it from the back here. And you might notice I've taken it really carefully. It's now cut off that outer edge, and look at all these pieces falling out from here. This is such a nice, such a nice die set. It does the most beautifully detailed pieces, and with that embossing folder, it's just perfect. I'm really surprised it didn't get a little bit more real estate in the look, there's even this piece. I don't know what I'd do with that, but that's kind of cool too, right? But anyway, I'm just going to grab my die brush and make sure that I've got all the pieces out. Actually, that's looking pretty good. There's only a couple of tiny pieces left in here. There we go, a couple there. That looks perfect. All right, so let's show you now the difference. Can you see the difference between the piece that was just cut out flat? It's the same shape as the other one, but this one has all the embossing. Can you see the difference? It's got the line around the middle here, and it's got the embossing on the leaves. So it's actually quite different, but really, really beautiful. So whilst this still looks good, and that's what I did use on my original piece, this one I think is even more beautiful. So it's just lovely. Really, really nice. All right. So let's pop these aside. I have already, like I said before, cut this is Evening Evergreen, this color, and this is going to go in the middle of this. Of course, it's perfectly sized to go in the middle, so you don't have to worry about the size. There we go. Now, I'm also going to use on here, I'm going to do a little bit of embossing. I'm going to speed up the camera for this bit. I don't expect you guys to sit around and wait for me to do the embossing. I can use a Joyful Christmas. This fits quite nice. Or Together is the Merriest Place to Be. That one's really nice. Both of them are really nice. So this one I think fits better on the shape when you're going this way. And we're not going that way this time. So if I was going, want it to be portrait rather than landscape, I would use one of the other sentiments. But for this one, I'm going to use this one that says Together is the Merriest Place to Be. And we'll use block D. It doesn't really matter. Block C will probably also squeeze on there as well, but block D will give me a bit more coverage. And I'm going to use my Versamark ink. The thing about Versamark is you can't always see it very well in a video. It doesn't give you that doesn't give you the satisfaction of being able to see your image very well. But when we add our embossing powder, it's going to give us a different story because this is a sticky ink. So I've got a embossing video coming up very, very soon that will give you a bit more of a detailed description on how embossing works for anyone who hasn't seen that. There we go. Together is the Merriest Place to Be. I know you can't see it well, but trust me, it's going to be fine. Now, on my original one, I did the other sentiment, the Joyful Christmas one, and I did it in gold. Today, I think I'm going to do this one in white. So I've got my white embossing powder here. And I've got a piece of plastic underneath my desk that keeps rustling. Never mind, we will just ignore that. And I'm going to pop this here. And I'm going to dump my white powder on top. And I'm going to flick over the back, just make sure that I've got off as much powder as I possibly can. That's pretty good actually. But usually what I do is I come in with a little brush and just neaten up any bits that might be straying around on the top there. I always keep a brush on my desk for this exact purpose. There we go, that looks great. And then you don't have to worry about your embossing powder. You can just funnel it straight back into your little tub, ready to use for next time. All right, so now we're going to get our heat tool in and we're going to get started on getting that embossing done. Embossing is one of those techniques that once you've started with it, you will love it and you'll be so glad you have all the bits and pieces. You don't need a lot to get started with embossing. You just need embossing powder, pigment ink such as a Versamark, and a heat tool. They're the main things you need, and your stamps, of course. All right, so I'm pretty happy with that. That's looking good. Let's pop this now in the middle of here, and we'll do that with a couple of dimensionals. Just like that. Take the backs off. And let's just position this in the middle of this rectangle here. Looking good. I do like white against a dark color like this. I just think it looks really classy. All right, so let's put our card together. We've got our basic ZFold from before, and then I've got some pieces that I've already cut to be the right size. Because my piece is 10.5 centimeters wide, I've made these 10, so they're a little bit smaller and they'll fit just inside. This piece is 7 centimeters wide here and 10 long here. So I'm just going to use some adhesive. You can use whatever adhesive you like, and I'm just going to position that here. The paper that I'm using here is from the Painted Christmas paper it's called. It's 12 by 12 paper and it's absolutely beautiful. And then I've also got a piece of white. I wanted to have somewhere that someone could write their greeting inside. So you could just put this piece here. If you wanted to, you can just keep it like that, just with the white piece, and the front piece is going to be here. Okay, and that's quite nice. But I decided to add just a little bit of extra color. This is from the same Painted Christmas set. And I'm going to just pop a little bit of a extra piece along to add a little bit more color, but totally up to you. So this piece is 4 centimeters wide, and it's the same width as the other paper, the 10 centimeters wide here. Right, so I'm going to pop this on here. I'm using seal adhesive, but you could use whatever adhesive you like to work with. Any of them is great. And then I'm just going to pop that inside here so that there's a bit of a border all the way around. You can see how easy these cards are to make. They're super, super simple. Now this one is going to go right here in the middle. Okay, now I need to position it that it's in the center of the whole piece. However, I'm going to use a couple of dimensionals behind. I mean, I could, if I wanted to, just attach it with glue dots or some other adhesive. But what I am going to do is I'm going to put a couple of dimensionals here. I'm going to put that back, and the rest of them I'm going to put over here on this left-hand side. So I don't want to put any over on the right-hand side because I'll end up gluing my card together, and that's not what I'm going for. So I'm putting 2 here on this outside edge on the left-hand side and 2 here on this edge. So now I can position the card where I want it to go. And those 4 dimensionals are in the right place. We don't want any glue or adhesive behind here. Okay, so doesn't that look nice? Now to finish it up, we're just going to do a little bit of bling, and I've cut some gold flowers previously with some of these. These are also in that Merriest die set as some extra little bits and pieces, and I'm deciding where I want these to go. So I've got a couple of the large ones, and then I've got a couple of small ones. So let's see. I think this is nice. Just like this. That looks rather cute, doesn't it? All right, so let's use glue dots to attach these. That would be the easiest way. I love, love, love glue dots. Easiest way to apply a glue dot, just position your flower into the center and then push it down, and then that will actually go exactly where you want it to go. And I'm going to grab another one, push, and pop that one there. Actually, that one didn't come. So let's do that again. This time that's better. And then we've also got these little ones. So I'm having 3 down in this bottom corner, 3 little flowers, and then 2 up in the top. For whatever reason, design elements always seem to work best in odd numbers. So having a total of 5 flowers on here works really well. If you wanted to change that number, you could go down to 3. If you didn't have enough, or you thought it was too many, you could definitely go down to 3, and that would still look good. Keeping that odd number going. Actually, I think I need a bit more sticky behind that one. that's better. All right, so they're looking really, really cute. The last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little bit of bling in the center of each flower. And I've got these fantastic in color jewels, and these green ones here in the middle. I like both the dark green and the light green, but the dark green definitely stands out more. So I've got some bigger size ones. They're going to go into the bigger flowers. And then the small ones, little guys, are going to go into the small ones, the small flowers. And this evening evergreen colour is the same colour as this cardstock here. So it really comes together and sets it off beautifully. And on my original card, I also tied a little bit of twine. I don't think I need to do that on this one. I think because I only had 3 on this card. And I think with the extra couple of flowers, I don't need any twine at all. I think it looks nice. So there you go. Another card. They're a little bit different to each other. This one has the gold embossing, this one has the white, and this one has the extra detail on this embossed piece. This one's more flat. So there you go. Well, I hope you enjoyed that. That's a simple ZFold card. I think you'll agree they're so easy to do, but they look impressive. They look like you've gone to a lot of extra trouble. It's just that little fancy fold factor. And I think it works really well. I hope you enjoyed that today. If you wish to purchase the Merriest Moments bundle, or if there's anything that you've seen today that you like, I'll have all the details in the description below, including my shopping address, my online shop. And of course, you can see that if you need to go and get more inspiration, I have a Facebook group and I also have a blog. So here's my blog address. I'll put all those details in the description below, and don't forget to subscribe for when I go live again soon, or when I'm on here again to show you more beautiful things. Thanks guys. Bye.